Terus. Hey Emir, could you please try once again your audio and your video?
Hello? Hi? Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, very clear. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Ronnie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ronnie. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Where are you now? Still in Canada or in Jakarta?
In Jakarta now.
In Jakarta. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Could you give it a try to just share screen your slide presentations?
Yeah. It's already ready. So whenever we are ready, I can just go into it.
Yeah, maybe just give it a try.
Okay. Here. Give me a sec, yeah? I'll share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see it?
1 second. Yeah, very clear.
Is that okay?
Okay, very clear.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
So now we are still waiting for the other international student. So we have many international students here from Vietnam, from Philippines, from Nigeria and Lithuania. So everyone is excited to
Cool.
be
Okay.
to be part of this activity. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. I think it's a very good opportunity for us to talk about this.
Yeah.
Wait, if you're Ronnie, then who's the Imam Sahroni down?
Yeah, me. I
I think
am
there's two
Sahroni. Yeah. This is just for
there's
the
two
committee.
accounts.
Yeah, we try to set everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, please wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hai semuanya, apa kabar?
Halo.
Baik, halo.
Emir sekarang di mana?
Di Jakarta, udah balik di Jakarta sekarang.
Oh, udah balik, udah lulus belum?
Udah baru aja lulus Mei ini tahun ini.
Oh gitu. Berarti berencana berkarir di Indonesia.
Iya, kan jadi keluar negara garap knowledge, informasi, terus bawa balik ke Jakarta, gitu. Bawa balik ke Indonesia lah.
Mantap.
Mas Emir, ini saya Aida mau kenalin ada Pak Wakil Rektor kami, Pak Wing namanya. Mungkin
Pak
bisa.
Wing.
Ya.
Salam kenal ya Pak.
Salam kenal. Sorry, tadi mute ternyata.
Aida salam kenal juga ya, sama Citi juga.
Iya, nanti saya yang jadi MC, insya Allah.
Mas Emir dari UBC atau dari Jakarta? Saya pikir dari University of British Columbia.
Iya, aku dari UBC baru aja graduate dari UBC Mei tahun ini.
Oke. Apa majornya?
Marketing
apa?
dengan concentration in. Iya. Sebentar.
Info aja ya.
Apa?
Atas nama
Iya. Nanti asistenku masuk juga ya, namanya Trin, kalau boleh di admit aja.
Siapa?
Namanya Trin sama Mio berdua.
Oke, siap.
Boleh ketik ya, ke siapa ketik?
Ya, ketik aja di chat ya.
Ya. Sama. Iya.
Saya pernah kuliah di UBC juga, tapi zaman dulu kala.
Oh iya Pak. Ngambil apa Pak?
Nggak, di Kanada arsitektur sih, cuma di UBC dulu apa ya, mungkin preparation ya. Jadi kalau master itu kan ada preparation, terus setelah itu di Dalhousie.
Oh Dalhousie, ya aku juga banyak teman dari Dalhousie. UBC kan gedung-gedungnya masih banyak yang sama Pak, mungkin masih.
Ya saya di mana namanya itu
Yang Okanagan. Gimana?
Okanagan terus tinggal di asramanya juga
Oh,
sempat sudah tahun 90 sekian, jadi sudah lama sekali. Agak lupa-lupa ingat.
nggak begitu lama.
Ya.
Ini kira-kira ada berapa orang ya yang udah lumayan banyak ya?
Yang registrasi sekitar 350. Tapi kita nggak tahu yang hadir berapa orang.
Iya.
Oke, ini kita masih setting-setting dan berapa menit.
Sip.
Good afternoon, everyone. While we are still waiting for the two speakers, we will be starting our session at 1:05. Okay, so 5 more minutes. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Insinyur Wiryono Harjo MArch PhD, Vice Rector for Research and Vice Rector for Partnership and Entrepreneurship of Universitas Islam Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, selamat siang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to International Students Talk Serie 2. We are multiculturalism, indigenization, and internalization. This program is jointly hosted by Universitas Islam Indonesia and Telkom University. My name is Aida Rahmah from Universitas Islam Indonesia, and I will be the master of ceremony of our event today. Let us offer our praise and gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, for it is with His blessing that we are able to gather and attend the International Students Talks for this afternoon. Let us open this event by reciting Basmalah all together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you all to please rise and direct your attention to the screen for the playing of the national anthem of Indonesia. Okay, please be seated. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Insinyur Wiryono Raharjo MArch PhD, the Vice Rector for Partnership and Entrepreneurship of Universitas Islam Indonesia, to deliver the welcoming remarks. Pak Wing, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Mbak Aida. Hello, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is my voice clear enough?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all participants of the International Students Talk Series number 2. I think the theme today is we are multiculturalism, indigenization, and internationalization. I would like to welcome and say hello to our guest speakers, Mr. Amir Mahira from University of British Columbia, Canada. I believe he's already back to Jakarta by now. Ms. Cindima Stella from Papua University, Philippines. Kehat Rashid Mansur Al-Sabahi, international students from Universitas Islam Indonesia. Fadilah Athar Fauzi Avicenna from University of Tun Hussein On, Malaysia. And of course, our moderator, Siti Mahdaria, Mbak Ria from Universitas Islam Indonesia. And I would also like to say hello to my colleagues, Budian, the Director of International Office, Director of Partnerships of Universitas Islam Indonesia, Bu Ilham and Pak Roni. Speaking about multiculturalism is often challenging because even if we know what it is, we may not reach to the level of understanding it. So when we decide to study abroad as international students, I think we have to keep in our mind that our objective to go abroad is not just to succeed the study, but also to get a better understanding of the culture in the place where we study. To get a better understanding, it's not just to do a sightseeing, right? Looking at the view of the city, but socially, we need to socially mingle with the local people. I guess the term indigenization is appropriate to frame that situation. So for me, indigenization implies understanding the local culture, and it can only be achieved through knowledge and experience. This is not a simple task because I've seen many international students only mingle with their own fellow countrymen, right? I used to be an international student myself, and I've seen many students, they just associate with their own friends from the same country, right? I'm not saying that this is bad, but sometimes it prevents us to understand more about the local culture, right? So, and also a lot of a case that I've seen, right? People, students did not succeed the study because they don't have the friends, or they don't have enough understanding of the local culture, right? They don't speak the language, right? So I guess internationalization requires these three steps. First is knowledge, and second is experience, and the third is understanding, right? Understanding of the foreign culture. So to make the culture is not foreign anymore to us, right? Certainly, the pandemic situation makes us more challenging to reach the level of understanding. But I think I'm glad that the pandemic happened today, where we have technology, right? What happened if the pandemic exists 30 years ago, right? I think it will be much more challenging and difficult. So today, we can do what we often call a virtual mobility. And I think although it cannot replace experience, right? But we can always design the experience through virtual platforms. And this is something that we would like to suggest to you all. And it's something that, this kind of program we keep on offering to our partners and to students, because we want to keep up the appetite of internationalization. Yeah, I guess that's all. I hope you have fruitful discussions, and I hope this series of talks can be one of the avenue to sparks the more interest in learning different culture. Thank you very much. I'm sorry if I have mistakes in delivering this speech. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak Wing. Before we start our session today, I am now pleased to have photo session with all of the participants here. Okay, so for those who have not turned the camera on, please turn it on now. We have 72 participants at the moment joining the room. So it's a bit crowded if it's not a virtual photo session. So let's do this. Okay, let's do 3 shots, okay? In 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, second one. 1, 2, 3. All right. The last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of the participants that have shown your best smile. Okay, now we are ready about to start our main agenda today. So allow me to invite the moderator for this session. She is Miss Siti Mahdaria. Yes, there she is. She is currently serving as the instructor at Culture and Learning Center of Universitas Islam Indonesia. Mbak Ria, this is how we usually call her, is one of our alumni, and she took her master's degree at University of Melbourne. Mbak Ria, are you with us now?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, now the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Mbak Aida, for introducing me. And then please please let me give a little brief about our discussion today. So we live in the world where we have a lot of differences with others. It can be in terms of culture, tradition, belief, and way of life. How do we manage to live in harmony in this diversity? So please let me introduce our topic for today. We are multiculturalism, indigenization, and internationalization. My name is Ria, and it's my pleasure to serve as the moderator for our discussion today. Then, please let me introduce our guest speaker, Emir Mahira. Okay, so this is our guest speaker for today's discussion, Emir Mahira Salim. He is the graduate from University of British Columbia. So the track record of his education, he was part of the International School of Kuala Lumpur. He is also from ISS, International School Singapore, and he has a lot of experience as the founder of Wali Bumi, the illustrator for Voice Asia Ghost Series, and the program and counselor at Easter Silcamp Winfield. And also, he is the actor, the lead actor in Garuda di Dadaku, Rumah Tanpa Jendela, and also the supporting actor in Soekarno, Indonesia Merdeka. Without any further ado, please welcome Mr. Emir Mahira. So please give virtual applause, guys.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys?
Hey.
Can you guys hear me fine? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything is great. So Emir, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well. Is it how to call you, like Emir?
Yeah, Emir. A lot of people call me Amir, Emir. It's fine. You can call me anything.
Emir is cool.
Yeah,
So,
Emir's fine.
yeah, are you still in Canada or you are back in Indonesia now?
I'm back in Indonesia now. So I spent 5 years in UBC, University of British Columbia in Vancouver. And I recently graduated in May of this year. And now I'm back here in Indonesia, Jakarta specifically.
Okay. What did you study in Canada?
I studied, my major was marketing with a concentration in sustainability. So essentially marketing businesses in a sustainable manner, essentially.
Wow, that's great. I'm also doing marketing, specifically marketing communication.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I read your CV and there are a lot of interesting fact that I found about you. Like you did so many things out there. But before we discuss about that, could you please give us a little bit about how did you start your journey to study abroad?
Okay, so it actually started 10 years ago. Up until grade 7, I went to school here in Indonesia. I went to school in Madania. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but I went to primary school in Madania, and then I started my middle school in Lab School Kebayoran. And then moving into grade 8, my dad got an opportunity to work abroad in Singapore. So the whole family decided to go with him because one, it's a great opportunity to get international exposure. And two, it's also, it allows us as the family to stay together, right?
Yeah.
So I went to Singapore. I went to International School Singapore, ISS International School Singapore up until grade 10. And then my dad got another opportunity to move to KL when I was in grade 10. So I studied in ISKL. Again, the family followed. So I studied in ISKL until high school graduation in 2015. I then applied to a lot of universities and finally decided to go to UBC, Vancouver, for my university. And I studied there for about 5 years, majoring in marketing. And now I'm back here in Indonesia.
Wow, so excited. Oh my God, I feel like I have a lot of questions I want to ask to you, but I think before that, I'll let you to share your screen. I feel like you want to present something, aren't
Oh
you?
yeah. I've
Oh,
prepared a
yeah.
little bit of a presentation for you guys to get to know me. Like some of you might already know me, but for those of you who don't, here's a little bit about me, I suppose. Give me a sec. Let me just set that up real quick.
Sure.
Okay. Can you guys see the screen just fine?
Yep.
Yeah?
Cool.
Okay. So who am I? A guide to knowing me a little bit. As you may already know, my name's Amir. You all can call me Amir. It's fine. There's me, a little picture of me over there, down there, if you can see. But yeah, some of you may know me from my movies. Some of you may know me as Bayu from Garuda di Dadaku 1 and 2.
Is it you?
Yeah, the one in the middle is me in that. I
Oh,
look very different. Yeah, I look very different, but that is me. That is me pre-puberty, let's say. I was also in Sukarno. I acted as the young Sukarno. So some of you may know me as Bayu or Sukarno, but to the rest of you, I'm just a random guy on Zoom talking to you right now, right? Amir, I still don't know who you are. So to that I say, let's get to know each other. I've worked together with Save the Children and Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation. I can't really describe much about me in such a short period of time, but what I can say is that I love to help. I've raised funds for Save the Children. I've read stories for children affected by COVID in Indonesia. And for BOSF, I've designed merchandise to raise funds for their operations. So that's a little bit more about me. I'm also, as you mentioned, the founder of Wali Bumi. It's a sole project that I started. We sell a bunch of unique, I would say, maybe cute goodies in order to sustain a business that I would describe as progressive. And we are dedicated to donating a portion of our profits to organizations in need. So that's it. I also own 2 cats. I recently adopted 2 cats.
cute.
Yeah, the orange one is Otto, and the gray. I'm a bit colorblind, but I think she's gray and white. That's Minnie. So I just wanted, in case you guys don't really care about what I've done, maybe you'll care about my cats. But yeah, I recently adopted these 2 cats, and I can't stop talking about them. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. This is just a short introduction. Now, some of you might still be thinking, Amir, I don't really care. Why are you here? Why are you on my screen talking to me right now? Well, other than all of that I've mentioned before, I have also lived in 4 different countries. And today I'm just here to share my experience with you guys. So that's about it. That's my introduction. I hope we can get to know each other better in this session of discussion. And I hand it back to you, Busiti.
Thank you, Emir. What a nice introduction. That's really cool what you have done. Like you went for Save the Children, orangutan, and everything. I'm really proud of you for doing this, you know. And I
Thank you.
feel like, yeah, our youth should be inspired by that.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but yeah, like for sure, I think there's a great deal of importance in helping others, and so I try my best to contribute in that area.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really interesting for me. Like, there are so many young people out there. They are doing so many good deeds as well, but not many of them are, especially for those who have been living abroad, like really care about the environment, about, yeah. So what, I mean, like, what inspired you to be a volunteer in many places, like in many organizations?
I think it's the realization that I've sort of, fortunately, my parents have worked very hard to provide me with a very comfortable life. I felt like I've been able to sort of go by without really needing anything and getting everything that I really needed. So I felt like for the longest time in my life, I felt like I've taken so much out of this world just to live. And I feel like now is the time for me to start giving back. I feel like people who don't necessarily feel the desire to help others, I think it could come from the fact that they might need help themselves and others yet. So I think for those of us who want to as many people as possible, and for those of us who um, aren't as willing to help, I think help for those of us as willing to help, it's good for helped by their friends and family and ask for that help.
I see. Wow, that's really what an inspiration. Yeah. So do you believe that, you know what? I believe something that empowered people empower others. What do you think about that?
I really think so. I agree with that because I do believe that humans, people in general, we're a social species, right? We need other people in order to get us going. So we need empowerment in order to empower people. And I think that saying is very true because how can a person who's never received help all their lives, right, and are in need of desperate help others? They can't. That's why as a society, as a community, we need to start helping each other so that we can help each other more, if that makes sense.
100% agree. Well, I mean, like coming back to our main topic for today, like you said, you moved to Malaysia, you moved to Singapore at a very young age. So, how did you feel at that time? Like, what do you feel at the time?
Oh, wow. I felt like a huge mix of emotions, especially since moving to Singapore was like definitely a first time for me to live abroad, right? I was terrified. I was not a very sociable kid. I don't know if you can tell, but like it was very hard for me to make friends. So once I was very comfortable with my friends in Indonesia, I didn't want to leave. I wasn't as open to change as I am now, you know? But my parents convinced me that this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. They were actually very open minded. They were like, if you're really comfortable here, you can stay here, live with your aunt or something like that. We'll find an arrangement. But they really convinced me that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to live abroad in Singapore. And my brothers were all very excited. And deep down, I really didn't want to part with my family. So I decided in the end that moving abroad was the right choice for me. And it took a while to adapt, but I never regretted the move since.
Wow, so glad for you. Yeah. What a nice decision as a young guy, you know?
Yeah.
That's a big decision. Yeah. So like you said, you have been living in 4 different countries. So while you were living in those countries, did you experience any culture shock?
I think culture shocks are very normal, right? I did experience culture shocks. Like back in Indonesia, when I was living in 2010, pre 2010, so like before that, I would say that I was already quite proficient in terms of speaking English, but I never really spoke it as my main language. It was a new experience having to speak English with your friends, right? And learning English, understanding your teacher speaking in English. That was like a whole new dimension that I wasn't familiar with. To sort of force yourself in order to be able to think in English rather than translating whatever your friends say or your teachers say to Bahasa and trying to speak to them in English that way. But it was like it was a different experience in a sense. There would be like times where I would say the wrong words or spoke with incorrect grammar. For example, I like Germany, right? Because in Bahasa, the country is called German, right? So I kept on calling it German, and then everyone's like, no, it's Germany. And so like I kept on making mistakes like that, but eventually I got better just by conversing with a lot of my friends and stuff like that. So I was also very small. In the 8th grade, I remember I was only 140 centimeter tall. I was relatively insecure. Like I I felt the need to befriend those who are like of a similar size to me to make me feel more comfortable. But eventually I grew out of my shell. My experience in Singapore and Malaysia was quite similar because I went to an international school. So essentially it's just filled with a bunch of people from different countries, right? Who are also in the same position as me, trying to learn a new language, trying to befriend new friends. So that really helped. But in Singapore and Malaysia, I was still in Asia, more specifically Southeast Asia. So I did not feel like too much of a foreigner. I felt like I was still sort of at home, an extension of my home. The first time I'd experienced real culture shock was moving to Canada. I really felt like an outsider. I didn't have anyone except for my brother, who was always hanging out with his friends. Even though I grew, like I was around 170, I'm around 170 centimeters now. Everyone in Canada is like a lot bigger, so I'm small again, and that took a while to get used to. But everyone in Canada was very open-minded. They're very tolerant. Like in Singapore and Malaysia, me and my friends would like develop dark humor or like humor with shock factors between us. I don't really want to share any of them right now, but in Canada, there was sort of a smaller space for this, as I feel that people are extremely tolerant to the point where intolerance was not tolerated. So you really had to choose your words carefully. You can't say any offensive jokes or anything like that, and you got to be mindful. But it really helped that Canadians were like very nice to me. They accepted me with open arms, and the transition was a lot easier to move into a different country for me, partially because I'd already spoken English and I had 5 years of international exposure beforehand.
I see. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I got a friend from Canada as well, and she told me that, you know, like people in Canada is as not, I mean, like they are not as chill as Australian. So that's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm actually, I don't know about that because my younger brother actually goes to Australia, but I've never actually been to Australia, so I can't really compare. All I can say is Canadians are nice. Like I would say that they are.
yeah. They're nice, though, they're nice. So yeah, I wonder, like you said that, like you experience culture shock mostly when you move to Canada. So while you're experiencing like inferiority, insecurity, and sort of things, did you get any support system other than your family?
I think in a sense, that's what encouraged me to find a support system. This insecurity of mine, or this feeling of uncomfortableness, I guess, is like what pushed me to go out and make new friends, right? Because I realized then that when I was living in Canada, that was the first time I lived independently, right?
Yeah.
Outside of my family. Whenever I felt like, oh man, I couldn't make any friends back home or something like that, I would just go to my mom, my brothers, and just hang out with them, right? I can't do the same here. So I needed to sort of force myself to go out of my comfort zone, right? To make new friends and sort of create my own support structure, right? And in order to do that, you need to befriend others and you need to sort of support your friends as well so that they can support you.
Wow, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's what I experienced. Like the first time I moved abroad, like I think it's really essential to have support system.
Right.
So yeah, we can feel like we're not alone, and yeah.
So where did you go? Where did you live abroad in?
So well, I've been to Bulgaria, Turkey, yeah, for doing voluntary activity for a couple months. Yeah, and I did my master in Australia. So yeah, sort of things.
Oh, where in Australia? Is it Melbourne?
Yeah, Melbourne, University of Melbourne.
Hey, that's where my brother goes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can talk about it later on. That's really
a separate call for that.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. Like you see a lot of culture in the 4 different countries. So while you are there, what is the most challenging experience that you have been through?
I think the most experience, I think this is going to differ for everyone, right? I might seem like I'm comfortable socially talking to people outside and stuff like that, which I am once I'm comfortable in my circle. But for me to go out and make new friends, I had the biggest issue there, sort of. That was like my biggest issue for the longest time. I'm a very, like, I don't know if you can tell, but initially I'm always just a very shy person. Like I would, it's very difficult for me to just come up to another person, a random person, just to talk to them. It would legitimately take me like 5 minutes to be like, okay, what am I going to say? How am I going to say hi? Am I going to say hello? And then after I say it, I'd always like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I always like second guess myself. So the biggest issue is just that sort of like making new friends, right? I think a lot of us feel the fear of being rejected, right? There's nothing like, I don't think it's that bad. Oh man, I think it is bad, but the feeling isn't as bad when you don't go out and make friends compared to when you try to go out and make friends and get rejected, right? I think that's a worse feeling. So that fear of rejection yeah, is definitely something that held me back, and I think that was my biggest issue in a sense, living abroad.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's really important for us to understand that sometimes it's just our negative thought, you know.
For sure.
Sometimes people are just very welcoming. It's just we think what we want to think. Well, actually, it's not. So
Exactly. Yeah. For real. I agree.
I think stay positive is the best thing we can do. Yeah.
I think, yeah, for sure. Like always, like looking back at it now, I should have gone into it with the mentality of like, you know what? If you don't want to be my friend, then that's your loss, right?
Yes. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Totally
I'm fine
agree
as
with
it
that.
is, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I wonder one thing. So you said that you struggle a little bit in terms of making friends. So is it that different in terms of social life in Indonesia and in Vancouver? It's really different.
I think like it is very different. It is very different, but I can't really say much, to be honest, about Indonesia itself because one, I've only been back here for 5 years after, for 5 months after 10 years of living abroad, right? So I'm sort of in the stage of sort of getting accustomed to the whole culture again, right? I'm readapting to my own culture. And plus, with the addition of COVID-19, it's very hard to go out and socialize with your old friends and stuff, right? So I've sort of just been staying at home. I've not really been going out much. So I can't really say a lot about the socialization aspect of Indonesia. But I guess I could mention the differences in terms of perhaps mentality or communities in Indonesia as compared to Canada. I think I think both countries are very, very polite. I think that's a pro for both countries. I think, in Indonesia, we're always like bowing to each other. We're always like the littlest things. We're always thanking each other, and I think that helped me transition into Canada too, because they do that there too. They smile, right? They smile and you smile back. So I think that's very important. But I do feel like, as I've mentioned before, in Canada, people are very open-minded to the point where intolerance was not tolerated, right? Everyone is very respectful of each other and of each other's beliefs. And after reading some news here, just the news, I have no experience actually diving into the communities, but I do feel that Indonesia is still in the process of accepting diversity.
Yep.
I feel like a lot of people still have an issue with diversity differences in our beliefs, maybe religion, sense of fashion, and sexual preferences. I think we're still sort of transitioning into acceptance. So I think that's the biggest difference between Indonesia and Canada.
Yeah. That's true. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So, like you said that you just came back for about 5 months.
Mhm.
So, have you heard the term reverse culture shock?
I've not, but I think I can guess what it is. But if you can explain it, that'd be great for the audience here,
So
right?
yeah. So like when you go abroad, you get exposed with new culture and everything. So it is a culture shock for you.
Mhm.
But once you come back to your country, I mean, like, you already grew up to be someone different. You
Mhm.
have developed, you have changed. And once you come back, you need to readjust with everything. So yeah. So again, you already become someone new and you come back and maybe your environment is still the same. So again, someone different who experienced something which is already different from the 10 years you have experienced abroad, it is very different. So yeah, it's like reverse culture shock. So
Mhm.
once you come back to your home country, once you have become a different person, it becomes reverse culture shock for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was I think that's a very good description of it actually. And I think that applies, right? That applies to everyone who's lived abroad for a long period of time.
yeah, that's true.
Because either the culture that you left behind stayed the same or the culture that you left behind changed without you knowing. So that either way you feel like you have to readapt, right?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so I can tell you a little bit about my experience coming back here, right? I mean, in that 10 years, in that time span of 10 years where I lived abroad, I would always come back home maybe like once every year or once every 2 years, just to visit my family and whatnot. And I had the privilege to do that. So I'm very grateful. But it did, I did have periods where I felt like I had an identity crisis, sort of, where like I didn't really know which culture I belonged to, you know. I would go back to Indonesia and I would try to converse with my Indonesian friends, but I don't know the new lingos and stuff like that. I don't know the new words. I don't know the terms. They would be saying things and I would just be like, what are you guys talking about? I can't, are we even speaking the same language, right? So there'd be times where I would, after spending so much time outside of Indonesia, where I would go back to Indonesia and actually feel like a foreigner, even though I was born here, I was technically raised here. I'd come back and I feel like a foreigner, you know?
Yep,
I,
yep.
did you ever experience that after like living abroad and stuff?
I do, I do, I do.
Yeah, right. And it takes time. It takes time. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience too, because you can't help but feel outcasted, you know, like you're just like an outcast outside of like the environment, and it makes you feel lonely in a sense. So yeah, there would be times where I would feel like I connect better with my friends outside of Indonesia, my Singaporean friends, my Malaysian friends, my Canadian friends. And then I think to myself, am I Malaysian? Am I Singaporean? Am I Canadian? You know? And there was this period of time where I was confused as to which culture I belong to. But then I realized that the solution to this identity crisis was to realize that I don't I don't really belong to just one culture, you know? I realized that I had adopted internationality as a part of my identity, and the influences of my environment have manifested themselves into becoming a part of me. So yes, I was mostly Indonesian, but I was also a little bit Malaysian, a little bit Singaporean, and a little bit Canadian, right? I think I realized that in order to deal with this multiculturalism or reverse culture shock, right? In a sense, we need to keep in touch with the cultures that are important to us and make sure we don't forget our roots. In which case, for me, is Indonesia, and I think it's important for people to forge their identities outside of their culture or their nationality, and that the cultures that they live in should not be their sole identity. I should not be defined by I'm an Indonesian, simply that. You know, I think the culture should add on to the identity. So I'm Amir, and I've lived in Indonesia, grew up in Indonesia. I lived in Singapore, Malaysia. So I have traits from all over the place, essentially, and that's me.
Yep.
So I think that is how I dealt with the reverse culture shock, I would say.
So you know what we call that kind of people? We call that global citizen.
Global citizens. That's a good term. Yeah.
Yeah, global citizen. So like one time I was so confused as well when I introduced myself in a conference, because I feel like I'm not only an Indonesian, because you know, like every time I go abroad, I love to dive into the culture of the
Yeah. Yeah.
country
Yeah.
where I visit it. So I feel like I immerse to those cultures. So every time I introduce myself, okay, I'm an Indonesian, but you know, I'm a global citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So you know what? It's really interesting topic, and I feel like there are a lot of questions that I want to ask, but we only have like 5 minutes left. So
Oh no.
yeah,
Okay. Sorry.
so I want to ask you, like you said, like you just try to be open mind, like embrace everything. So, but how? What did you do to embrace the multiculturalism? Because you know some people reluctant to embrace new things or something rare for them. So, what about you? What did you do?
I think I think it's important for us to realize where that is coming from. That's sort of like, because a lot of people are uncomfortable with learning new cultures and they're like, hey, I've always been doing it this way, right? Don't try to teach me new things. You know, I'm comfortable with the way I am, right? A lot of people have that mentality sort of. And I think that stems from the fact that humans, us as people, we're very uncomfortable with things that we don't know, right? And in order for us to grow, we need to break that barrier, especially with globalization and multiculturalism. We find that we are becoming more innovative, that we have an increased spread of technology. This level of interconnectedness, me talking to you right now through this screen, we've never had this access before, right? This is unprecedented. So now we have access to view other people's cultures like we never had before. And I think right now is the opportunity for all of us to learn about other people's culture and gain a more worldly view, to understand different perspectives and to share ideas. I think it is on us. I think we have the resources to do this. We need to utilize them, right? How do we take advantage of this, as you asked? So to take advantage of this, I think we need to have two things. I think one, as you've mentioned, is we need to have an open mind. That's very, very necessary. And two, we need to have the ability to explore and the courage to explore beyond the realms of our comfort zone, go out of our comfort zones, right? To have an open mind is to have the ability to question, to be able to accept that we might not know what's best and that other people can teach us something, right? To understand that there are multiple ways of viewing something and that your view is not necessarily the only correct view, and we need to be respectful of each other's views. And second, to explore beyond our comfort zone is to learn a new language, to befriend a person from another, a completely different culture, to go live in another country, as you and I did, and as many people in this call have done. We should strive, I feel, my main message to everyone, I suppose, who wants to take advantage of this era of multiculturalism is that we should strive to forge this world into one big cultural melting pot where we can share successes, we can learn from each other's mistakes. At the same time, we can celebrate our uniqueness. So, and I think we can start that by slowly and respectfully learning each other's cultures.
Wow, that's really remarkable. You just answered my next question.
Oh, what was your next question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I want to ask you, like, how can young people take advantage of that multiculturalism? And you just answer me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just on the roll. I felt like I was just wanting.
No. I'm like, that's totally
really
fine. It shows that, you know, like
sorry.
we are connected. Like what we are thinking is connected.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we can see here, like in the Zoom, in the screen, like there are so many international students as well, like Indonesians study in Malaysia, or like Middle East students study in Indonesia, and vice versa, and sort of things.
Yeah.
So as a students, what did you do to adjust with the campus life?
Wow. Ooh, it took me a while to adjust, actually. In UBC, there's about 50,000 people, I think, in my faculty alone. I think, or maybe in the university, there's 50,000 people, and that's a good thing, right? There's that many people for you to befriend, essentially. I mean, it's not possible, but there's that many people, potential friends. But that was daunting to me. You know, I was like, I didn't really know where to start. I want to have a fruitful discussion here. So I want to be honest, right? The first half of the semester, I spent legitimately, I would say 80% of the time just in my dorm room alone, watching cartoons and just and just studying when I need to. But yeah, I just do that. I didn't feel like, I mean, at the time I was also I also had my close friend Ray there, so we just hang out with each other and sort of, like, as Mr. Wing have said, sort of stayed within my comfort zone, you know, just hanging out with my fellow, I would say, countrymen then, I guess, right? But I didn't really go out and like explore. And that's when I, like, at the end of the first half of the semester, I realized, wow, I'm really, really wasting my time here, right? If I don't do anything about this, I'm wasting my time here. So I needed to sort of go out. I needed to sort of go out, make new friends, learn the campus. I actually got lost several times. I'm terrible with directions, right? I would try to get to a building and I would end up off campus, and I'd be like, how did I get here, right? So for me, in order to adjust with the campus life, is that one is, as I've mentioned before, is to realize that I don't have the support system to push me to perform as well. Like my parents telling me, you got to study, you got to do this, you know. Teachers, necessarily professors, they don't really care. I mean, like, it shifts, you know. They don't really, some of them don't really care about whether you do the homework or not. They're just there to provide you with the materials, and it's up to you. It's your responsibility, right? And adopting that responsibility, responsibility was very difficult, right? To sort of have self-discipline. And so in order to adjust for me from a lifestyle in which I was essentially guided, in which people were holding my hands, be like, yeah, Amir, you got to do this, you got to do this, and now you got to make your own decision. In order to cope with that, I think, as I've mentioned before, the best thing to do is to just create your own support system to ensure that there are other people like you, and you guys are making sure that that you're both doing what you're supposed to do, have work sessions together, have study sessions together, hang out together, so you have time to work properly, stay disciplined, and at the same time relax and hang out with your friends.
Okay, wow, wow, wow.
Right, that was
There's a lot to
quite a
think.
long answer.
That's
I'm
really
sorry.
meaningful. Yeah. I'm like, I remember, like, I experienced something similar. Like, the first time I moved to Australia, like, the first semester was like the most difficult part of my journey because, like, so many things out there and it's a bit overwhelmed. Like you don't know where to start. Like, before I come, I already got a list of plan what I want to do, but when I just get there, it's like, oh my god, so many things. Like, I'm not really sure where to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, but I did go out. I did go out.
You did.
But the difference is that, like, when I was in my undergrad, like, like being an active student, like wherever you go, like everyone knows you and sort of things. So you feel like you have a role, but then you move out there, you feel like, I feel like I was like a small dot
Oh
on a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
whiteboard, like
Yeah.
very small.
I know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean. Considering,
yeah.
like, for example, I used to act a lot before I moved out, right? So everywhere I go, sort of, I was accustomed to this, like, okay, people know me and stuff like that, right? And so that level of ego, I'm gonna be honest with you, stayed with me a little bit. I'm like, I go outside and I'm like, this sucks. No one knows me. But it's good. I think it's very good because it really humbled me. Like,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
order for me to grow, I need to grow out of this shell that's essentially already too small for me, right? It's already too small for me. That keeps me, like, sort of humble, and keeps me in the desire to learn and grow. And I think that's why international exposure is so important to us, to realize that even if we make it big in our country, even if we're a huge deal in our community, the world is way bigger than that. And so we need to understand that we're just a part of, like, a missing puzzle piece in
Yes,
this
that's true.
world.
That's true.
We're
That's
not the
true.
whole puzzle, we're just a puzzle piece. Yeah.
But I think it's really good that you get, like, you get something from yourself, like you get your internal motivation to, to trigger you, go out there, make new friends, explore the area and everything. But what I did was, like, what? I went to the, what do you call it? I went to the nursing home. I went to the nursing home randomly because of a friend of mine asked me to join them.
Yeah.
So it was weird because this community was handled by, I don't know, like a group of Chinese people from China. So they speak Chinese and everything. We even sing like Chinese song and whatever. But then, yeah, I went to the nursing home, and then, I mean, like, that experience, when I look after the grandma and the grandpa there, it really, like, bring me to the realization that no matter where you are, whatever you do, you have a role. You just need to meet the right people and find your way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, we got 5 minutes left. Oh, is it okay if I share a similar experience with you, actually, just for
Sure,
the
sure.
last closing minutes?
Yep,
So
yep.
yes, I do agree with you. That's when I realized, sort of, like, when I felt like purposeless, when I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
why I
yeah.
was here. Why are we here in this world? We're so small. Like, it doesn't matter what we do, right? But it can matter what we do. So in university, when I really felt like, I think university was coming to an end, and I had barely any courses left. I had time during the summer to work at Easter Seals, and I became a programmer and a counselor for children with disabilities, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And at that time, I was like, I felt purposeless. I felt purposeless, where I would, like, be like, okay, why am I here? But there, I was doing what any other person would do, just like having fun with the kids, having fun with the people there. But their smiles, that really changed a lot in me, to see them being able to appreciate the simplest things in life, sort of like playing in a playground, you know, make believe, pretending to be characters, like eating a juicy watermelon when it's like really sunny outside and like enjoying that. That really opened my mind to understand that in order for us to not feel purposeless is to take on responsibility such as helping others, and that on top of that we need to ensure that we are able to appreciate the little things to have a happy life in a sense.
Appreciate the smallest thing and realize that every smallest thing in the world should be appreciated, and that will be so meaningful in your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, this is one last super random question. So, do you still play soccer these days?
I mean,
Garuda di dadaku is about soccer.
I know. I feel like it'd be irresponsible for me to play soccer right now, right, during COVID. But back in Canada, there was a period where I was really into soccer, like still playing football, soccer, with my friends and stuff, and my college mates. So when the time is right, I'm thinking about going back into football. But right now, I'm not playing currently.
Okay, thank you so much, Amir. I think we are done with the first session of the discussion. So guys, to all of you, if you have any question, feel free to write it on the chat box or just prepare your question, because after the roundtable discussion, there will be question and answer session where you can turn on your microphone and ask your question directly. So Amir, thank you so much for this session. I mean, we learn a lot and it's really inspiring. You're inspirational. Like, thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I'm fine. I'm just a guy. If I can say some words, I would like to thank you for helping conduct this event. I think it's a very important topic to discuss, right? I would like to thank Universitas Islam Indonesia, Telkom University, and Mapua and UTHM, every one of you guys for inviting me to have this conversation. I think it's a privilege to be able to talk to you guys right now. And yeah, I hope that me sharing my experience was helpful in some way. And I would just like to thank all of you for being here and just listening to me talk. And I think it's been great. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you know what? Stay tuned in here and then we will get back to you. So now please let me welcome the 3 international students who are going to be participating in roundtable discussion with everyone here. So we are also discussing about the multiculturalism as from the perspective of international students. So please let me introduce all of them one by one, of course. Okay, first we have Jihad Rashid Mansur Al-Sabahi. So he is the student of Universitas Islam Indonesia from Yemen. So yeah, he was graduated from IMES International Arabic Modern School and also Al Rawat National Model School. So some of his achievement, academic and management team at Yemeni Cultural Center in Malaysia. He is also the international computer license at Darul Ulum Institute for Qualifying and Training. And he is also got the basic of social media marketing at Al Qadasi Biz for Business and Marketing in Malaysia. So Joe is actually the student in my class. So okay, next. Next, we have Fadilah Atar Fauzi Afishena. So he is the student of University Tun Hussein on Malaysia, and he is the student from Indonesia. So he was graduated from SMK Sri Gading and also SMA. SMA is high school, Swasta Al Ulum. So some of his achievement. So he got a common ASHR. From 28 to 2014 gold medal and also the silver medal in 2012. And also he also got the UPSR Excellent Student Award, choral speaking district level first place, German team word compose second place, and also UTHM archery competition 2015 third place. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, the third one. So we have Chidinma Stella Mauren Fucheta. So he is from Mapua University. So she is actually the students from Nigeria who study in the Philippines. So yeah, her background was graduated from Dorothy International Secondary School. So some of her achievement, so she is the public relations officer at Mapua University, Mapua International Students Organization at Mapua University. So she is also the winner of Mr. and Mrs. MME Mechanical and Manufacturing Engineering, and also the member of Guidance Society of Mapua at Mapua University, and the three-time gold medalist in Guidance Society of Mapua's leadership training. That's remarkable. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please together with me, let us welcome the three speakers for the roundtable session. Please give them a virtual applause. Okay, thank you. So, hi, Joe.
Hi, Assalamualaikum.
Indima. And also Fauzi. How are you guys?
Baik.
We're good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much for being here. It's my pleasure to talk and get inspired by all of you here. So, guys, I think it will be great if all of you can explain to us a little bit about yourself. Maybe we can start from Chindima.
Okay, so my name is Afwachita Chidema Stella Morin. I'm from Nigeria and I moved to the Philippines in 2016 for my BS degree. And I'm the PRO of Papua International Organization. And I'm a winner of Mr. and Mrs. MME. And other things that I cannot really justify. I'm just an all well-rounded person, both in education and extracurricular activities.
Thank you, Chindima. Next, we have Fauzi, please. Sorry, Fauzi. I think your microphone, something. I cannot hear you properly. Try again, please. Okay, relax. It's okay. We will give you a little bit time. Okay, Joe, we can start from you.
So my name is Jihad Rashid Mansour Al-Sabahi. I was born in Yemen. You can hear me clearly, right?
Okay.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
So I was born in Yemen, then I finished my elementary and middle school in Yemen. Then after that, the war has started, so I moved to live in Malaysia, and I spent there 2 years to finish my high school. Then after that, I get a scholarship from Indonesia, so I moved there to start study from OA University.
Okay, well, I have interesting question for you. Fauzi, are you back?
Hello? Hello?
Oh, yeah, could you please speak louder?
Okay. Hello, test.
Yeah, louder, please. Yes.
So sorry. What is the question again?
Oh yeah. Just a little bit about yourself.
Oh, okay. So I'm actually sorry.
Sorry, Fauzi, are you with us?
Hello. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's better.
Okay. So I'm from Indonesia, and what can I say about myself is that when I was 6, that's when I started to go to Malaysia and live there for about 10 years.
Oh.
And then on 2017, I moved back to Indonesia for 3 years and to finish my high school. And then right now I'm studying in UTSM and waiting for the pandemic to end to go back to Malaysia.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So guys, I'm sorry. I hear my voice twice. So could you please just like, you know, it's like echoing. Do you hear my voice echoing? So, you know, it's like
None at all.
echoing. Do
You're
you hear my voice? Okay, great. Thank you so
fine.
much,
Or you're
guys.
fine.
Do you so much, guys? So, I wonder, like, okay, thank you so like, Malaysia for about Joe said that he was in Malaysia for 2 years and then decided to move to Indonesia, and so does Stella. Stella is in the Philippines and staying there for work and sort of things. So I wonder, like, when you decided to move to the country where you are staying now, before you decided to go to this country? Maybe we can start from Joe.
Sorry, Miss, could you please repeat the question?
So like, why did you decide to move to Indonesia from Malaysia?
Just as I said before, I get scholarship here in our university, so I decided to move here. That's the reason.
Okay, because of the scholarship. Okay. What about Stella? Before you come to the Philippines, so why did you decide to, okay, the Philippines is the country?
I wanted a change of environment, and my father was for it. So he was like, okay, you go to the Philippines. So I was here. That's just it.
What about you, Fauzi? It seems like you're really comfortable studying in Malaysia. What's encouraged that decision?
Sorry, is it? Sorry, what is the question again?
Why did you decided to study in Malaysia?
I see. Previously, before I'm studying in UTSM, I'm just following my parents doing their master and PhD.
All right. Okay, some of you got a suggestion from the parents, some of you following the parents, and some of you got a scholarship. That's really cool. So since like the three of you living in three different countries, I wonder like, what kind of culture shock that you experience? Maybe we can start from Fauzi.
All right. So actually, when I lived in Malaysia, like when I was 6, I was still very young. So like I was still in kindergarten. So cultural shock is not really a big issue. But when I went back to Indonesia, that's like you said with Amir, it's what is called reverse culture shock. That's what I'm experiencing. So I am an Indonesian, but whenever I speak Indonesian and talk with my fellow schoolmates, I couldn't understand them, especially with their slang and new words. So I have to ask a lot of questions, a lot of them, to the point that it might get them laugh or annoy a bit.
That's really interesting. So you experience a reverse culture shock more than the culture shock itself.
Indeed.
Okay, that's interesting. What about you, Stella? I think like the Philippines and Nigeria might be very different in a way. Or what do you think?
Yes, it's very different. I'm not going to lie. To be honest with you, I had a lot of culture shock, and I still am having a lot of culture shock as I'm here in the Philippines. Coming here, I was like, I had expectations. I was in Africa for literally all my life, and then all of a sudden I'm in Asia. So that's like a very big shift for me. And it's also the first time that I'm going to be away from my parents for forever. So when I got here, I got a lot of stairs. I am 6 feet tall, obviously different with skin color and hair texture. Clothing was even a very big part of the entire problem. I didn't get a lot of clothes coming from Nigeria because I thought that maybe I'll just come here and shop or something, or get myself, the things here and, incorporate into the culture. But it was not the case. I had to wear slippers to school. True. And and another thing what I liked about here was that in the transportation system, they do this, you give someone your money to give to the driver, and that is not something being done in Nigeria. So Nigeria, you give it straight to the conductor or the driver. So I was kind of like scared, what if my money gets taken? But it was really a very nice experience. I loved it. I loved the honesty that the Filipino people showed me. I did have a lot of difficulty fitting into Mapua and in the Philippines as a whole, but my school really helped me get through it. I'm very grateful for that. But then in school, as we were studying, I came from the airport straight to school. So imagine I didn't know how to speak Tagalog. I was in school and I was like, literally, what is going on? I didn't understand anything. The English they spoke had an accent to it, so I didn't understand the accent. So gradually I had to learn how to speak Tagalog or Taglish, a few words, and I had to like understand the accent. And every sentence to your senior, you had to say "po" every time, and that's like a respect. I didn't know that. I found it funny. I'm not going to lie, but I found it funny at first. But then I started to understand, and I really learned a lot coming here. And I am still. The part about people staring at me was really weird. I always stood out in where I went. I always stood out, but in classes, but in this, and it was really difficult, especially with a 6 foot tall girl just walking about. I am not Hatsumi, so it was really, really difficult. But I would say I'm getting better now, and that's the best thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah, yeah. So I feel like what you're trying to say is that being an open-minded and also immersed with the culture is really help you to embrace the culture shock, isn't it? Okay. So Joe, what about you? Like coming from the Middle East to Indonesia, like the most populous Muslim countries. So, like, I don't know, do you feel any culture shock when you move to Indonesia or how?
A lot, actually. First, as I said before, that I grew up in religious family. So since I got out from Yemen, then I started moving Malaysia. To be honest, I haven't faced a lot of culture shock in Malaysia because at least all the people can speak English there. So I didn't need to learn a new language just to communicate with the others. But since I moved to Indonesia, that was terrible. That was really hard for me. Because Indonesian people, I can say that Indonesia really have a deep culture. Like we can say, Indonesia really have a deep culture. So there are several things face me. For an example, the environment, the food, the type of the food, the language here, the behaviors or the values of the people. For an example, if I talk about the language, it was really hard for me to communicate, especially the way how to pronounce the words in Bahasa Indonesia. It's really difficult than in English. And for the second thing is if we talk about food, like the type of Indonesian food, we can say it's really big different than the Arabic one. The people here like eat the rice 3 times a day. If I do that, I will die in 3 days. That's really hard for Arabian guys. So for the third things, if we talk about the values and the behaviors of the people, I mean, when I came here, like we used in Arabic, like countries, we just called the people by their names. We didn't need to use like Mba or like bu or mas or this kind of stuff. So when I came here, for an example, like the people usually here asking like dari mana, like keep asking you like question like if you ask this question for an Arabic guy, he gonna stop you right away. And it was like, why you ask me this question? You think you are my friend or something like that? But yeah, that was really hard for me because I didn't know. I was think they just try to bothering me, but after that, okay, it's something normal here.
I see. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always interesting when we talk about the culture shock and the culture difference among nations. So for example, like Stella said that she tried to be open mind and adjust with everything. So what about Fauzi and Joe? Like Fauzi, you said that you feel like you got more reverse culture shock rather than the culture shock itself. So how do you manage the reverse culture shock with your home country?
Okay, so firstly, when I moved to this new school, that SMA Swasta Alulum, the people, everyone in the school, including some of the teachers, thought that I am a Malaysian, so they treat me like a foreigner. And as you know, Indonesian treat other people, they're very nice. So when they told me, especially the Indonesian language teacher, she told me that if you have any question, just say it out aloud. And there's this one time on her class, I keep asking question, and like she explained it, and then I ask her again to the point that I take the entire an hour. I mean, take her class, but yeah. Uh, other than that, some of my questions may sounds like silly to them, and it does make them sometimes. It is funny for them, and sometimes it might be annoying to them. But overall, I'll just try to get along with them, socializing with my schoolmates and teachers. And whenever I have something in mind, I will just ask them, and they will kindly answering it.
All right. So reaching out to people, yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good. Very good. So Joe, like you said, people are too friendly to the level that's annoyed me. So how did you deal with those people? Like how you manage to, like be friend with Indonesians and the people here in Indonesia?
So yeah, miss. In the beginning, when I came here, it was really difficult for me to communicate, as I said before. But day by day, I start to believe that I need to find a way how to communicate with those people. So in that time, I try to getting closer from the local student and stay away from Arabic student. And everyone keep asking me why you do that, and I say because if I stay with Arabic people, I would not like it will be really difficult for me to learn this language. But if I surround myself by Indonesian students, Indonesian friends, making a friends, that's really easier for me. And that's why right now I think I can speak Bahasa more than all my friends who came with me in the same time. Because all my friends are Indonesian.
Yeah, I think that's a very good tips. Like mingle with the locals. That how you can engage with with the people, with the culture and everything. So guys, like you get exposed with the new culture, uh, the diverse people that you see around you these days, and then like some of you also experience many things. So as an international student, what is the most challenging experience you have, and how did you deal with that? Maybe we can start from Stella. The most challenging experience and how you deal with that.
My most challenging experience would be fitting in. Um, as you know, I'm tall and I have a different. I'm basically different all around. So that's my biggest challenge: fitting in or getting into groups or having friends that I could constantly talk to. How I fixed that or got about it was I put myself out there. I put myself in difficult situations. For example, I know that I don't know what this is about, or I know I'm going to look stupid in doing some certain things, but I did it anyways, because if I don't, I'm going to be left out. So another thing I did was I exposed myself. I bust my bubbles and then went out to look for friends, to communicate with other people. I found a lot of friends just by doing that. Now I have a very wide range of circle of friends from all nationalities and Filipinos as well. And I'm really happy with that for how far I've gotten. And another thing I did was I participated in almost everything they did in school, from PSME outings. That's like another organization that I am part of, or I'm still part of. And I try to be part of the school. I try to be with all of the students, my batchmates. I try to go with them wherever they go. I go with them. Whatever they do, I do. I put myself in those situations so that I could learn more about the culture and the people and make friends. And another magnificent thing that I did that to this day I still don't know how I was able to do it was I'm a very conserved person, and I'm very introverted. So what I did was I joined the pageant. I did. I really did. Now in the pageant, you have to like look for like support, go around the classes and tell them you're participating in this event and that event. And I did that, and they were all surprised, and even I was surprised with myself too. So what I basically, in general, what I did was I put myself out there. I made sure that I was not left behind, despite me being different and not being like the others in terms of similarities. I still went for it. I gathered up my courage and I went for it. I decided to participate in this, participate in that. And from just doing that, I really learned so much and I absorbed so much. I became part of the culture. Now, I think I put some Taglish words when I speak sometimes, like kasi or paranganon, or I just say random things and people really flow with me. I'm now very comfortable. When I walk out to people, I could easily ask them what I want and they know because I put myself out there. So if you're an international student or if you're a student wanting to study abroad, don't always keep to yourself or reserve to your own kind of people. Always put yourself out there and make more friends. So that is what I did, and it's working for me, and it really helps me. I was able to expand my knowledge so much, and I didn't become broad-minded and ignorant. Ignorance is your worst enemy, so I try to not accept ignorance. So even though I look stupid in some situations, I still did it and I learned from it and I grew from that. So it's very important to put yourself out there. Thank you.
Stella, let me say this. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you twist the difference you have, become a uniqueness that is sellable. And, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, what about Joe? What about you? Like, let's keep it short.
So actually, there are three big challenges for me. The first, as I say, it's the food. The second thing, it was about the language, how to call the people. It's really a problem for me. For an example, for the language, like some lecturer in our college, but like the local student with the international student in the same group. And some local students, they are not that good in English. So it was really difficult for us to communicate with each other, to do the assignment together. And for the second thing is the food. I'm not lying if I say I spend more than 5 months eat the same meal 3 times a day, because that was really hard for me. All the food here are spicy. So I just was eating gebrek, I even don't know if I pronounce it very well, for 5 months every day. Like I would sleep while my stomach really hurt me every night. but that's fine. Right now I get to use that. I force myself to eat all here. And for the last thing, it was about the way how to call the people here, because that was really big a challenge for me. I think this is the biggest challenge, because every time I call the people here, it like should say like hey, for an example, but here you should say like mas or, and I really have bad experience about it. When I came here in the beginning, I had a friend and I asked her how should I call the people here. So she told me you should call them sayang, and I don't know what does it mean in the beginning. So when I came here, I was calling everyone sayang, like on the market, on the barber shop, and everyone said terima kasih sayang, and everyone like, what are you talking about? So that was a really big problem for me, and like day by
So,
day, I told her why.
wait, no. Let me explain to the audience. So in Indonesia, sayang means like darling. So Joe literally going everywhere and saying thank you to everyone. Thank you, darling, even to the street vendor and everyone he met. Okay, continue, please.
So that was big problem when I say sayang for someone, like for the market, like all the people around me look at me like that, like, and I don't know why they look at me that way. And some girls, when I say terima kasih sayang, I don't know, it's like a lovely word. So they start stalking me in that day. Since that day, they say like start texting me, what do you mean by sayang? I say, I don't know, I just say it, that's all. So that was a really big problem for me in the beginning. But day by day, that's the main reason why I started to learn Bahasa after this story.
Okay. That's a good experience then.
Bad.
So that motivates you to learn bahasa, yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
what about you, Fauzi? Like, yeah.
I think challenges between, I mean, also in the language, even though I know Indonesian and Malaysians, but the problem is when we have similar language, we also have the same word with the same pronunciation and same spelling, but it have different meaning. Sometimes it's totally different, and sometimes it just sort of confused me. Like, am I talking in Malaysian or am I talking in Indonesian right now with them? And yeah, that anxiety of them, like I do get often get them misunderstand, like in a misunderstanding situation. So yeah, I have to ask them like, am I saying this right, or am I speaking in the right language right now? Because I'm so confused on that. So yeah, I will just ask them, even though sometimes yeah, it really get to a difficult situation because I accidentally say something bad, even though it's actually good in this language.
All right. That's really like interesting experience as well. Like you confuse whether you're speaking in which language because they are very similar. So guys, like one last question for all of you. Could you please describe in a word, like uh, what do you feel now as being part of the multiculturalism? One word. What do you feel being part of the multiculturalism? Stella.
One word to describe what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel open-minded. Is that a word? Put them together.
Yeah. You feel open. You feel open. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Stella. Fauzi, what about you?
I would actually feel glad that I'm part of the diverse, exposed to diverse culture and.
Okay, you're glad.
Yeah.
You're glad. Okay, Joe, what about you?
Actually, after all this experience, I can say that I'm stronger.
You're stronger. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, thank you so much for sharing this, guys. Before we go to the Q&A, I would like to invite, so we have two more international students who are willing to share a little bit about how they cope with, how they embrace multiculturalism. So we have Okugo Antoni and Chia Lun Chang from Lithuania. Are you guys here? Okugo and Chia Lun Chang? What about Professor Grazina?
So good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Very clear.
So thank you for this sharing, dear students. It was so interesting to hear your experience. So my name is Grażyna, and yeah, I'm from Lithuania. And one issue because of this multiculturalism is time difference. So we have morning here in Lithuania, it's 9:30. And yeah, Lithuania is small country in Europe, in Northern East Europe. And my university is Mykolas Riomeris University. So I'm from collaborating university. And who knows, maybe someday someone of you will be in Vilnius, in Lithuania, experiencing this cultural shock and dealing with that. So I am lecturing at university, and my subject is intercultural communication. So I feel this responsibility to help to overcome cultural shock, to help to open understanding, to deepen understanding, to overcoming these misunderstandings between cultures. And yeah, so once again, thank you for sharing with your experience, because it helps me to understand better, to have illustrations. So it's very useful experience. And yeah, the students, my students as well, were supposed to participate, and I am not sure if so I see Okugo Anthony here in the list of participants, but I so some maybe we can wait for him, or we can say him once again. Hello, Anthony, can you join us? Can you share your experience?
Okugo Anthony, are you with us? Okay, it's okay. Maybe we can ask him to come during the Q&A session if he has something to share. Thank you so much, Professor Grazina, for being here. I mean, like culture, especially like cross-cultural understanding is really my topic. And I'm teaching business communication. So maybe we can talk further after this, like, you know, maybe join research in the future. Who knows? That would be wonderful.
It would be nice. Yeah. So it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, guys, like all ladies and gentlemen, especially the international students in the roundtable discussion, we have Stella, Joe, and Fauzi. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Now we are going to open the question and answer session. So for all the audience in this Zoom meeting, if you have any question for Emir, for Stella, Joe, and also Fauzi, please feel free to share your question on the chat box, or you can turn on your microphone and say your question. So anybody here? Okay, maybe while waiting for people to construct the question. So, oh yeah, there's a question. Okay, Fahrul. Fahrul, do you want to turn on your microphone, or you prefer me to just say the question? Okay.
Oh. Mana Fahrul? Okay, sudah.
Okay, maybe I'll just read it if Fahrul. Okay, okay. Okay, no worries. So from Fahrul, thank you guys for sharing your experiences. I'm wondering what is the most enjoyable things for you guys about studying and staying abroad? Maybe we can start from Emir.
Hi, sorry, I've been. I'm here now.
That's why I call you.
So what's the most enjoyable thing about studying abroad?
Yeah, and living abroad.
I think for me, is as cheesy as it sounds, I think it really is. The real treasure is the friends you make along the way. So I think the most enjoyable part of like studying abroad is essentially making friends from different places with different perspectives, and I think that's very much enjoyable for me. I'm a person who loves to discuss and argue with my friends, so it's very interesting for me to hear different perspectives from different places around the world. So I think definitely the most fun is making new friends and hanging out with those friends. It makes you feel very accomplished, I would say.
Okay. So what about you, Stella? Do you have a different opinion?
My most enjoyable moment, it's a lot. I cannot pick one, but it's the memories. The memories of going to the beaches with my friends, the memories of doing class debates with my friends, general everything. I loved it, from the food, from the clothing, from the just riding the common jeepney. That's the transportation system. Everything was very enjoyable for me, and I'm still enjoying it.
So the memories was really nice. Keep developing, being someone better. It's very remarkable. So what about you, Joe?
So for me, I think it's the point when you arrive to the point that you start realize like, right now I really understand most of the local people like speech. Before I was kind of like, I keep acting like, oh, okay, oh, I understand, oh, that's cool. But the most like enjoyable point is when you start really understand everything. That's really good feeling.
Okay, wow. I can feel like, the excitement in your explanation. It's really nice. So I
Because
think oh yeah. What about you, Fauzi?
As for me, the most enjoyable part is when you went to another foreign country and then you actually like exploring and discovering new things with other people and mixing up with them and actually experience something that actually totally new, something very different from my own country.
All right. So different learning values and also different experience that you gain. Okay, that's really great as well. So I think this question is specifically for Emir. So what did you learn from getting for a different education system? Do they give you different experiences?
Yes, but I do believe that there's a sort of commonality in the 4 different education systems that I received, because I studied in IB curriculum, under the IB curriculum. I'm not familiar if I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, International Baccalaureate, but it's basically a structure of study. So my experience in Malaysia and Singapore, for example, were very, very similar because they essentially use the same curriculum to teach me. So the education system there was relatively similar. Moving to Canada, it was more. I think it's still bordered. The IB curriculum was designed to prepare students in order to learn in universities. So it really meshed well with the Canadian system too. So based on my experience, I feel like the difference in the 4 systems, the 4 sources of education, is more the culture around them rather than the system itself. So the way your friends worked, the way your teacher taught, your teachers spoke or taught, I think the difference was more in that.
Okay, so rather than the education system, you feel like the communication and also the working style with your comrades is like the most essential part that you feel different and learn a lot from, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we have Ken here. Ken, please say your question.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So Ken is the student from Libya, yeah?
Yeah, Liberia.
Oh, Liberia. Sorry, yeah, from Liberia. So yeah, what's the question?
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Actually, we have learned a lot from you guys. My question has to do with all of the things that you guys explained. So, what can we do as an international student to keep our relationship with our local students, even though sometimes there may be lapses? Thank you so much.
So the question is like, what do you do to engage with the local student, isn't it?
Yeah, to keep our relationship, you know.
Okay. To keep the relationship. Okay. So I think Amir and Stella maybe have more experience in this. So Stella, what do you think?
Hey Ken.
Yeah, how you doing?
There's this saying, and it is, when you're in Rome, you act like the Romans. So if you're in Indonesia, act like Indonesians. If they invite you to somewhere, go and if you can't, okay, but always keep in touch with them, always keep contact with them. As I speak, I actually have an Indonesian guy who studies in Mapua, and we have this close connection, all of us in the international room. And you're talking about how we can keep our relationships with the locals, that's the Filipinos in my case. What I do is when they invite me to somewhere, I go, whether it's Bible study or whether it's, oh, let's go to the beach, or whether it's come to my home, I go. I involve myself with all of these things because it's important to learn their culture as well. So when they see that you're willing to learn their culture, you want to be part of them, they are very excited. And then the next thing is you're friends with them, and they will keep calling you a friend wherever they go. They'll say, "Oh, I have this Liberian friend," and that's just it. Yeah.
All right. That's really good tips, Stella. So what about you, Amir? Do you have any other tips?
I very much agree with that. I think it's very important for us to immerse ourselves in the local culture, right? It's not, as Mr. Wing has said, it's not, if you go to another country and you just hang out with your fellow countrymen or countrywomen, it's in a sense you're just having a holiday with your friends. You know, you're not really expanding your network. So in order for us to have a better relationship with the locals or like the local students, it's very important, as Stella said, to join them in their activities respectfully and understand what they like to do and understand what they do and immerse yourself in their culture. So I guess, if I have to say, how can we keep in touch? Or how can we build a fruitful relationship between us as international students with the local students? Is for us to learn their culture. And I would say that the most important part initially would probably be learning their language, because that gives you a basic access on how they think, in a sense.
All right. So it's about immerse with the culture, engage with the local, and just, reach out to people. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Now here we have Miss Maro Daud, please.
Yeah. I think I want to ask Amir.
Yeah.
What did you
Yeah.
learn from getting for a different education system? I mean, do they give you different experiences?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Maro. I think Amir already answered the question. Yeah. So yeah, he said that rather than the education system itself, interact with people, working system, the working behavior, working style with people, that's the highlight of the difference instead of the education system itself. Yeah, I think, yeah. All right. So do we have more people who wanna share their question?
Okay, so
Sarita?
yes, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to ask these questions. So thank you so much for all the panelists for sharing such a great experience to us. So I actually have two questions for all the panelists. So first is, before going abroad, you might have done some research, of course, about the culture, about the university that you applied in, and some other possibilities that might happen during your study abroad. So was there one thing that happened that you didn't expect before? And the second is, you might find one lowest point that during your study abroad, but what was one thing or reason that you that made you stay in the end?
Okay, what's the reason that makes you stay?
Hmm.
Let's hear from Joe. Joe, what do you think?
Thank you anyway.
So for me, because I told you before, I just traveled from my country to Malaysia just because the war has started. So it's not just for study. So it's like I need to go outside. It's not just because I search about the new country, the new culture. So I just go there and I don't care whether there's something will be different or not. Yeah, I need to go. I need to go. So but the only things that I was really shocked when I arrived to Malaysia is about I thought that there is no Arabs there because in that time I was really young. So like I will go to another like plan. So yeah, there is Arabic people there. This for the first question.
There are a lot of Arabic people there.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, what about you, Emir? What made you stay in those countries while you were studying there?
I realized that in order for me to be there, for me to be in Singapore, in Malaysia, and Canada, my parents had to sacrifice quite a lot, right? My parents had to sacrifice quite a lot, and it was on me to sort of respect their sacrifices and to work as hard as possible to stay. Thankfully for me, I've always had the support system to the point where I never felt like I really, really just wanted to go home. Like I never got to the point where I felt so lonely or so alone that I wanted to go back home. And for those of you who are international students and feel like you might feel that, this is exactly why it's very important for you to have a support system, right? To reach out and friends. Because what I learned, especially in university, is that people actually love to help. They like to feel useful and they love to help you out. You just need to be able to ask them for help, right? So for me, I never got to that point because my friends are also supportive of me. They were always there for me, right? Even if I don't return like their text for like a day, they'll be like, well, something's off, like check up on Amir and stuff like that. So I really feel appreciated in that regard. So it's very important for us to have that support system in order for us to not feel that low. And another little thing for me is when I get homesick or when I feel like I just want to go home, it usually has something to do with food. Like I love Indonesian food so much, and it's like very difficult to find in Canada, in Vancouver, But I always have my trusty sambal and Indomie to keep me sane. So so that's it. Yeah.
All right. So now we have Nadia Alma here. Okay, please. Sorry, could you please guys, is it just me who cannot hear the voice, or you guys also cannot?
I can't hear anything.
Can you hear my voice?
Oh yeah, that's great. Your voice is sweet. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Talking about open-minded, which is as a global citizen, we should too. But sometimes I feel that even in the campus area, some of my friends use open-minded as an excuse to defend their own perspective, and sometimes they use it for mocking other culture. So how do you define open-minded and how to handle the kind of people?
Ooh, I think this is very contextual, yeah. I mean, like, could you please give us an example of how they misuse the open-minded term?
Oh, okay. So maybe it's talking about like a religion. Like in Indonesia, we have a lot of religion and also a culture. Like me, I was growing up in Jakarta, but I studied in Semarang, which a lot of people in here are from Java. And then some of my friends
who live in a city, they always like, okay, I think that Japanese are really slow. Or Japanese food is too. They making like a stereotype. So, but when we ask again, so if you cannot like get to use it, yeah, just don't do that. But they use it like, yeah, but that's my perspective, something like that. So how do you guys define the open-minded and how to handle that kind of people? Because that kind of people that use an open-minded as an excuse sometimes kind of stubborn and didn't want to sharing or hearing another opinion.
I would like to say something to that. I get that a lot. I'm sorry, honey, but that is not open-mindedness. That is ignorance, honey. So I get it a lot. That is seriously a very good example, a quintessential example of ignorance. And people that are ignorant don't give you any value. I will be honest with you. When people, how I go about that problem is I try to educate. If the person doesn't want to listen, I just simply leave the person. I don't have time to waste on someone that is not ready to understand my culture or where I'm from or why I do this or things that I do. So it's called ignorance. And if you can enlighten them that your people are not slow, it's the way we do things, then that's fine. If they understand, then that's even way better. But if it's ignorance, then you leave them. You just forgo them. You just let them be and be on your own and help your mental. Don't let it get to you. As in, don't let it get to your mind, or maybe you're slow and then you start to work faster and faster. Don't do that. Be yourself, embrace yourself, and embrace other people's culture at the same time. Like here in the Philippines, I get that a lot. People ask me lots of questions like, why is your hair like that? Or why is your daddy like that? Or why you do that? Why you do that? And I try to explain to them, and when I see that they start to argue or they start to like say things that are very demeaning, I say, okay, fine. If you don't want to listen, it's okay. And I just go away. And mind you, that was a time when this got to me. Like I started to like feel very insecure about myself because of what they say to me. But what I do is try to protect my mental health, and I just let it go and say, this is not me. I try to be myself, and that's how I deal with it. And I think in the Philippines, in Mapua, people really love me for that, because I don't think like that, like say, oh, because this person said this to me, that means the entire Filipinos are going to be like that. You understand? So always be yourself and don't let these things get to you. And someone that's ignorant, if the person is willing to learn, or if the person doesn't, will always be ignorant. So you have to let that person be and move on with your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stella. I think it's pretty much everything. Like, yeah, focus on your well-being, focus on the things you can control. If people misuse the term, if they don't want to hear anything from you, just let them be. Because you are the one who learned about open-minded, you know how it is and you know how it works. So just, let people think what they want to think, because one day they will get exposed with the experience about what open-minded truly is. Okay, now here we have Meta Riza. So I think you have question specifically for Fauzi, yeah? Okay, please. Your microphone is off.
Hi,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thanks. So I'd like to thank everyone for sharing their great stories. Indeed, they are very inspiring. And I think one of my key takeaways is that you really need to learn to see things in perspective. Particularly for Fauzi, I think it's a pretty unique story that you have as an Indonesian. and going abroad when you were still a kid and then coming back as I would say a teenager. So that's where the culture shock happened. So my questions to Fauzi is, I mean, how did you eventually get through it, and did you get help along the way? Did you ask for help along the way? Maybe if you can share more on that, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Meta Riza. Please, Fauzi.
So firstly, it is actually very difficult to embrace this like differences and get used to it. So during these difficulties, I actually made two close friends in my school, and they actually helped me a lot with to overcome this. They try to when I was feeling down or like very confused with what's going on, they will try to comfort me and advise me things. Or what should I do? Like you should suggest me that like take it easy, and how can I put this? Basically, they do try to. There are two of my schoolmates that try support me when I'm struggling trying to adapt with this reverse culture shock.
Okay, so yeah, people also welcome you. They try to facilitate you. Yeah, is that how it was?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, that's great. Like sometimes, having a support system is the key sometimes. Other than, being strong within yourself, having an external support will also help. So that's really great. That I'm so glad that Fauzi, you got that support and people are welcoming you and everything. So guys, actually there are a lot of super duper interesting question on the chat box, like a lot of them, but unfortunately we don't have that much time to answer all of them. So sad. I know. I know, it's so sad.
No, one more. No, kidding.
Okay, guys, you know what? I'm going to ask like each one of the speakers, from Amir to Fauzi, Stella, and Joe, about like your final remark being a global citizen in the multiculturalism. What is your final remark? Anything like a message to the audience? Maybe we can start from Joe.
Yes, it's Evan here. So could you please ask someone to use?
There's a motorcycle. All right. Joe, are you in Jogja now or not yet?
I'm in Jogja. I'm going to travel to Jakarta after 5 hours.
Oh, wow. I'm in Jakarta now. Okay, anyway, sorry. Okay, please, your final remark.
So as I told you, could you please ask someone first because it's Adan here, so there will be a lot of voices on my microphone.
Yep, no worries. Go.
So I think I just want to say that try to be open-minded for the people first, getting closer to the local. Don't try to make the people around you feel like you are really different. Like, look at me guys, I'm cool, I'm a different guy, I'm from another country, it's not that good. So yeah, just don't try to be like different from the others.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Joe. What about you, Stella?
I would say, embrace yourself first. And when you embrace yourself, then embrace other cultures some more. It's very simple, but it's very effective. When you know yourself, you can move forward in life. So you cannot, because I heard Emir say something about identity crisis, and that is so true for every international student. So when you know yourself, you become an example of what people aspire to be. So embrace yourself so that others can learn from you and know that there is something, because everywhere you go, you become an example of your culture, of your life outside where you are right now. So embrace yourself and embrace other cultures as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stella. That's so meaningful, you know. That's so meaningful. All right, Fauzi, what about you?
As for me, I think you have to make the first step. I mean, yeah, the first move to actually interact with the locals. Instead of the locals try to approach you, you approach them. And because once you approach them and get to know them, or even try to get to know them, they eventually try to reach out to you, and you will eventually get along with them, and then you have this support system that will help you when you are struggling.
All right. Yep. Thank you so much. That's pretty much true. That's really true. Yeah. Okay, Emir.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to repeat the last part of my talk there with you earlier today. I think that beyond our differences in culture, we're all humans. We all should be fighting for the same side, fighting for humanity's side. We should strive to create this world, to forge this world, build this world into one huge cultural melting pot where, again, we can share our experiences, we can share our successes, learn from our mistakes, and yet embrace our uniqueness. I think that's going to be my ending remark.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Emir. So, guys, if I can say, like, if I can make a summary of all the remarkable final words from our speaker. So, okay, keep it in note, guys, because it's really important. Yeah. So, so you need to be open-minded person. Don't be arrogant, because an idiom said that when you are in Rome, act like what Romans do. So embrace yourself, knowing who you are, then start to embrace the culture. Once you know who you are, then after that you can start to dive into anything. Then please don't forget, or don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Be afraid to
Mbak Ria, are you still with us? I think she lost her connection.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much, Mbak Ria, and our wonderful speakers. Before we end this event, I would like to remind all of the participants to scan the QR code as the requirement to get your e-certificate. One sec. So there it is. Yes, this is the QR code. You might simply scan the QR code, put your name and email address in the form, then we will send the certificate right to your email address. But make sure to write your name and email correctly, or the certificate will never come to you. All right, finally, we have reached the very end of our event today. Let us close this event by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Maybe Emir, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Do you want to say goodbye to all of the participants here?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, share, and wait. Just kidding.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. It was.
Thank you very much, Emir.
Thank you, Emir, for being
Thank you
here
very
with
much,
us today.
Emir.
And
No,
also
no, no.
thank you to Joe, Stella, and Fauzi, and of course Mbak Ria for leading our session. I would like to finish this session with some inspired words from Barack Obama. He said, "Simple exchanges can break walls down between us. For when people come together and speak to one another and share a common experience, then their common humanity is revealed." Guess that's all from me. Have a good day, stay safe, healthy, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you, everyone.
Stay cool.
Yeah. Bye. Hope to see you guys
Bye.
soon. Take care,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
you.